2024 meeting of the Leechburg Area School Board. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Roll call, please.
Dr. Goodrich?
Here.
Mr. Dunbar?
Here.
Mrs. Knight? Here. Mr. Levitt? Mr. Lovelace?
Here.
Mr. Maxson?
Here.
Mr. Hollis?
Here.
Ms. Stewart?
Here.
Mr. Conlon?
Here.
An executive session was conducted prior to the public meeting at 6:30 p.m. on August 14, 2024 in the Leechburg Superintendent's office to discuss legal issues, contracts, personnel, board relations, and student confidentiality issues. We have an agenda item added, the disposal of old elementary materials. A motion is needed to approve the disposal of old elementary materials as submitted.
Is this an action item?
I can explain it. So what we have, over the last 30 years, we've collected many, many books in about 4 different storage areas of the elementary. A large portion of them are from the last Go Math and Journeys reading. So what we did, I had the custodians and maintenance staff move them all to the elementary library. What I'm asking for is approval to dispose of them on that part of it. And then once we have that approved tonight, I'm going to call any local preschools, anybody local out there that may welcome to come look and take anything they can use on that. And then on the 27th, we're going to have a disposal come in and get rid of everything that's left there so we can use those resources. They've been sitting there since I got here 9 years ago.
They were here when I.
Yeah, I mean, it's been passed off and passed off and passed off. Mm-hmm. We have nowhere to put the stuff that we have on that. So I asked them to gather it up on our items. All the items are listed on there with everything that we have for that.
Okay, so do you want a motion then?
Yeah, did you see there was like a full inventory list?
Yes,
of all
I
this?
did.
Okay.
And when I read that, I thought, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, if you go down, I'll send a video tomorrow. I have a video on it. There's so much, and there, I think it's probably 25 years old. There's like books and stuff that we're all little readers that go on. So and some of the stuff we're going to pull and keep, so that if parents want something to take home to work with their kids extra, if it's a consumable, we're going to be able to pass those out. Or hey, here's some, and you can exchange them if you lose them. So be it. But that way, it's out of our closets. We can redo the closets and start to organize what we're doing down there.
So everything is still helpful to a parent to do something at home.
It could be. I mean, it's old. And I'll be honest, but we get a lot of times, especially at the elementary, a parent will call or talk to a teacher and say, hey, I could use some extra practice in math. Mm-hmm. Hey, here's an old 2nd grade math workbook that we have sitting there. So like the hard books, though, if nobody comes and claims them, we're going to get rid of them because they're old and outdated with that. But anything that's consumable that we can still maybe salvage, or if someone wants, we'll save some of those so that we can hand them out. I just want a plan so that we can get rid of that stuff. Mr. Comar did a great job with some of the science stuff. It was probably 40, 50 years old, some of the science materials that were down by the old kindergarten classrooms. So he managed to give it out to some of the teachers and told them to get rid of some of it, and they were going through. So it's been a work in progress, something I've talked about for the last few years, and we finally were able to move on it to try to clear some storage up.
Okay.
So do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the agreement with Southwood Children's Behavioral Health Care for the 2024-2025 school year as submitted.
And this will be another voting. This is a residential treatment facility that we have a student, and it's not something we recommend. And Mr. Comar can go deeper, but it's not something we recommend as a kid. It would be working with the liaisons from the mental health of Armstrong County, Westmoreland County, wherever they're working with. And this placement, it was deemed a residential placement was needed for that student. But this would be the agreement for the year.
Who decides the residential that they need?
Can I actually go on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it goes to a residential treatment facility, we would never ever recommend that. always from an outside agency. Usually these are very extreme cases where they're having extreme behaviors in the home that sometimes spill over into the school. But that would never recommendation would never come from us. That is really us working with those recommendations from those outside providers to, and then we basically have to be in agreement with them. But again, these cases are our most extreme cases, and we would never, there would never be a situation where I would say, this kid's having a lot of behavioral problems in school, we're going to recommend a residential treatment facility, if that's helpful. Any other questions?
Well, everything, like every review I read, I didn't find one positive one. So that's why I was really questioning it.
It's one of the mental health facilities, probably the biggest one around for the residential treatments with that. And we don't, this will be the first one I've had in 9 years I've been here. So it's not like there's a ton of them there. We may have one more, like I said, there's a couple issues going on right now that are occurring outside of school. So we're just working with them as they go.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment on agenda items. I don't think that we have any public comment this evening. Okay. Our student representative report. Do we have? Not this evening. Okay. Administrative reports. Dr. Vargo.
Good evening. I just have mostly updates just because I've just started about a month ago. So just to kind of update you on some of the things I've been working on, in the high school from the middle school to kind of get the year started. So last night we completed our 6th grade orientation, new student orientation. Feel like it was pretty well attended. Students were able to get into their lockers. Only got one note card of a kid who couldn't get into the locker. So that's usually the biggest hurdle for 6th graders. If they can get into their lockers, it's a good thing. I really appreciate Mrs. Young, Dr. Linkus, Mrs. Klein, and Officer Mike. They attended last night's orientation and were a help and spoke and helped out with passing out packet schedules and those types of things. So I'm very appreciative of their attendance there last night. As for some of the other things that I've been reviewing, most of them have been procedural. Some of the things like students entering the building, the metal detectors, what that process will look like, and speaking with some of the stakeholders, with bag checkers and things like that. We thought there's some things we could add to possibly shore those things up. So I've been working with Dr. Keebler and Mr. Comore on those things. Lesson plan submission, just the way teachers would be doing that. Course selections, the master schedule have been kind of taking up a majority of my time, and now we're kind of focusing on what those the first in-service days are going to look like when it comes to professional development and what the teachers experience when they get here, and obviously to get ultimately ready for students when they roll in on the 28th there. But I would like to thank Dr. Keebler and Mr. Comore. They've been excellent in helping me out to try to hit the ground running here for the first day of school coming up. Also, Ms. Klein's been great. Dr. Linkus, Mrs. Mondale, Mrs. Freddie, Mrs. Young, Mrs. Vigna have taken time out of their schedules to meet with me and have meetings and discuss. And, I know, it's vacation time and there's things that they need to get done in their classrooms, but they did take the time out, and I really appreciate that in answering questions that helped me out. But overall, I'm excited to get started and, ready to get moving and get people in the building and get kids here. Are there any questions or anything with?
I don't have a question, but I would just like to formally welcome you to our district, which I know you're aware of or have known for a long time, but I didn't get to say anything before. So I'm very excited to have you here, and I'm looking forward to great things.
All right, well, I appreciate that. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
And I'd like to thank Dr. Vargo, like I said, coming in to breath of fresh air of some of the changes. As you heard there, we will put a video out to the students for the new bag check procedures, but it came from the individuals who are checking bags. There's so much stuff jammed in them that it's very easy to miss something on there. So we're going to put a video out. The kids are going to remove everything. Books will get on. We bought little totes for them to put their stuff in. So hopefully they don't bring a ton of stuff so that it doesn't go on there, but it'll make sure that safety will be that much higher on what we're doing with that. But we had talked through it. It's something that Mr. Vargo had done in his past school. Once they get through it, it may be a little bit slower, but we bought roughly 96 little bins that they're going to empty their stuff in, go through. Their book bags will be on their back. We have tables set up over there that will be ready to go and go through that. So it's been there, but he's done a great job coming in on that, and it's nice to have that team together up there. And I welcome him to the district since this is our first formal time. It's nice to have the whole team here tonight as we go through that, so we get to go. But thank you, Dr. Vargo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Barker.
All right. Hey there. I'm also new to this role here, so I'm excited to get started and help everybody out for the incoming school year. So, the continuing goal of the IT department here is to make sure that the systems run smoothly for the teachers, administration, and the students. And technology is so important to almost all occupations these days. So we want to make sure that we're very student-centric and making sure we're keeping things running smoothly for the students. So one thing that we've been working on from the IT perspective is getting streamlined with the new documents, making sure the documents are up to date for the school year. And we're trying to go electronic and try to eliminate some of the paper that's going back and forth too. So we have a nice online system for electronic approvals, and one thing that maybe new is electronic excuses, so you don't have to use paper forms anymore. We're also rolling out a streamlined refresh schedule for the students. So whereas the kindergartners will get new Chromebooks as they're coming in, they'll be updated when they're in third grade, and then updated again when they're in eighth grade. So it's a little bit more streamlined than what we've done before, and it's going to be a result in the cost savings, which is nice for the school district. We're making some tweaks for cybersecurity because always you may hear in the media about data breaches and passwords being exposed. So we're making some common sense improvements for our cybersecurity systems as well. We got new copiers and printers for the school district, which we've gotten good reviews on from the teachers that are coming in because they're a lot faster than the previous ones, and you can also badge in, badge out with your electronic badge card, which is nice. So in terms of, and then there's a couple quotes for consideration today for new Chromebooks. So that will be replacing some of ours that are getting older, and we've got a nice discount on those, and some PCs for our Creation Nation because we have students trying to use video editing and software editing, which is those computers are getting quite end of life. So that's for consideration. And the last thing is we updated a document here about student Chromebook usage and care. This is updated on the district website. I think Dr. Keeler has a copy. It's going around.
Pass it around.
Yeah. So take a look at this, and you can download this. It's under departments and the technology on the district. What we did is we included some do's and don'ts for the Chromebooks and a explanation of the Chromebook insurance policy. So all students can opt into an insurance policy if they want. It's only $25 for the year, and if anything were to happen to the device, that would be covered. Most things will be covered by the insurance. So, all right, those are my updates.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
And then, okay, the Chromebooks and the laptops, they're all within the budget though, as far as the cost?
Yes, it's not. It's everything was accounted for in the budget. Actually, the quotes came in under budget a little bit, so it's not a new spend. So it was already in the budget.
Thank you. And then again, I'd like to welcome you to our district. I know you're not familiar with it, but you will be, and we're excited for some new things in our IT department.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the warm welcome.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank Mr. Barker as well. He's done a great job of coming in, really understanding it and really taking the lead on what's going on. One of the biggest things when he came in here was the student and teacher-centered piece of that. And I think that's really going to be the lasting piece of what we're about here. We're here for the students on that. We had some times in the past that it may not have worked or it may not have been as streamlined for them. So I think this will be great. And I think, as he said, he's put some updated in the new computer plan when we met together. And when we go back to 2020, when we went one-to-one with that, we did have a plan to replace Chromebooks as we went through. We have not purchased any or planned that out with that. So we started this right now and we cut it down to those grade levels. But that would be the moving forward. every year those certain grades will get new ones so that we don't get a $400,000 or $500,000 bill for 1 year. It would be roughly just for about 150 to 170 devices a year for the next forever, as we say with that, but we can budget for that as we prepare that with it. So I thank him for putting that together and everything else, and he's done a nice job. And I want to commend of putting the new printers in. We got a new contract with Ford for our printers that we approved a couple months ago, and they were all installed now. Everything that any teacher or any of us print, it goes to a queue. You walk over to the printer, you scan your badge, it opens up, you hit print, it comes out. So you're not sending stuff and it's stuck while someone else is doing it. There's no confidentiality issues with that. So it was a well planned out. There were a couple updates that needed done, so they went through, but I think they've worked through all those, and I'm pretty excited to use it. I think teachers will be happy. We have training set up on the first day. Ford's going to come in and train the teachers as we go through 15-minute trainings for them, so they're aware of what to do with that. But thank you, Mr. Barker.
I have a question on the printer issue. So the teachers don't have their own printers anymore in the classroom. Why do they need like one copy or 2 copies of something?
Hopefully, they send
Like
stuff
that.
down now to the office and ask.
Oh, okay.
At the elementary,
Enough to
yes.
do, right?
So I always tell them, I try to get them going on with that, but yeah, but the issue was the cost savings that we will have. We won't be buying multiple toners for 100 different
Right.
machines. We can streamline it. I think our contract with Ford is pretty positive on what the costs are with that. So I do think in the big picture, it's going to be a savings to that district.
And also what's nice about these printers, they're all networked into one network. So, and then we have about 5 or 6 of them spread around the buildings. So, so really no classroom is too far from a printer, and they can just badge in and you can print once and then release it from anyone that you're nearby, which is
Oh, that's
Yeah, like I
nice.
can print from my office and come down here, scan my badge at the high school office, and it comes right out right
Ooh,
there.
okay, that's
So,
nice.
like I said, it's a nice system with that.
I
Okay,
didn't
thanks.
hear you speak about virus protection. Is there the need for virus protection with Chromebook?
Yes. So with Microsoft, we recently updated Microsoft Defender, and that's for the Windows machines. And then for the Chromebooks, we have a system called Go Guardian and Go Secure, and those are web-based, and they are protecting the Chromebooks from like a server and from any email that's coming in is automatically scanned. So those are up and running.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Adam from Metz.
Good evening, everybody. Dr. Keeler, would you like me to go over the quotes now or once we get to it?
You can just give your update, and we'll
Okay.
talk if there's
Just
any
a
other
brief
questions.
summary,
I
is
think
that
I know
okay?
most of it. I can go, but if we have a question, you're here.
All right, sounds good. All right, so just letting you guys know, my first summer here at Leechburg, it's been a show. It's been a lot of work. Definitely an experience, I'll tell you that. A lot of grass cutting, a lot of waxing, a lot of painting, a lot of garbage. Talking to Dr. Keebler too, I'm hoping we can get to a point where maybe we can have everybody do a walk around the school, some of the storage areas. Like I said, we're trying to get rid of some of this unused material, unused items. We even have storage rooms full of old chairs, desks, tables, everything. Really like to find a good home for it if people will take it, but I'd really like to start utilizing space that we actually need for people that need to actually place things where it should actually go. And instead of trying to find everything like on a wild goose chase and not, knowing what we have and what we need. So hopefully we can schedule a time to hopefully go through the building, see some of these storage areas that we have. Even up at the football field, we have a lot of equipment that's just not being utilized. And that space could be definitely utilized better, I think, personally. I definitely like to look into that. Also, like I said, just another experience this summer, just crazy. So what we have going on right now is we actually have all our door handles being changed out. This is being done now as we speak. We should have everything done before school starts. Everybody should have keys that they need to use for what doors they need. Nobody will have keys that they don't need. So it will eliminate any keys that are outside of the school that shouldn't be, out there, like in the community. So hopefully, that'll, deter and keep people from being in places they're not supposed to be. So security is definitely important here. I know we briefly spoke at some point. I'd really like to look into, at some point getting badge reader doors on the cafeteria doors. I think that's a good area to definitely, something we should look into. I think for some reason, those two doors just don't have badge readers. I'm not sure why. We haven't gotten there yet, but I'd definitely like to look into that. We have a bad leak on our third elementary floor roof. Me and Dr. Keebler are looking into that, trying to make a game plan here. Hopefully, we hear something back for these grants. If we do not, we will have to make a plan to get that taken care of, since that roof is, and it's past its end of life. So it's well past it. I'm not sure why some of these roofs were, not taken care of when we had that opportunity. Hopefully, we can get those fixed and move forward and have better roofing. We've installed new smart boards, as you can see in the library, for hopefully, I guess, the board meetings. We installed 2 up in the cafeteria for announcements as well. I believe we also installed one in the guidance office, and I'm sure there's more we'll be installing before school starts. Also, me and Dr. Keebler personally removed the chin-up bars off from the playground, so we don't have to worry about that insurance issue that we had. I just have to dig up the concrete post tomorrow, which I plan on doing, and pull them out with the truck, and then we're going to dispose of those. We're also getting new mulch for the playground next week, getting double what we had, so we should have good coverage until winter comes, hopefully. Also, we got our new dishwasher, which is exciting. So did the training on that actually last week, and that will definitely save some headaches in the kitchen for sure. As of right now, we are pressure washing and cleaning the football stadium. That should be done in time for all the games and all the events up at the stadium. And also, Dr. Keebler and I will be meeting with Dave Freakinese tomorrow from Ironworks to go over the railings for the stadium, for the bleachers. And we're going to try to get a prototype before I'd say by mid-September. And then if everybody can, have some input, if they're good for the bleachers, we'll try one out, see if everybody likes them. And then they would be, if we move forward with that, I think we counted about 80. And they would be powder coated blue, so they'll hold up, and that'll make access easier for everybody up at the stadium. Other than that, I appreciate the opportunity to still be here, and I hope to keep, just keep things moving here and keeping the school up and running and keeping everybody safe. So if anybody has any questions, let me know.
I don't have a question, but I'll start everything out like this. I just want to commend you again, and I've said it before, for everything you're doing. I know there are a lot of things that needed done. I mean, I taught here. It's been 11 years I've been out. I know about all the storage areas, not all of them, but I mean, I know there's so many things that have to be addressed.
There's a lot.
And it's finally happening. I really feel very good about that.
Good. I'm glad.
And just keep up the good work.
Thank you. I appreciate
Don't
that.
leave us.
I will be here as long as you want me here.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that one.
And also, last thing, I just want to thank my team. I really appreciate all the work that everybody's done. My whole team, maintenance and janitorial. Without them, I don't think I would have pulled off this summer. So, thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And I want to say the same thing with the whole staff. They've done a wonderful job this summer getting the building ready. We're excited to get the kids back here. And just going back to that last item, when we were up for the band preview, I talked to Mr. Lovelace that brought up, I know these bleachers were talked about at end for multiple years on that. We'll make a decision so we know. I did price them out, depending on if it stays that's the same way. I was up there the other day, and my recommendation is going to be if they work and they can put that on there, we would go every other row, so it'd be 20 up each side. We have 80 going up there, and they'll be on. We could go other options where we do home and only go halfway up on the visitors. Those are conversations we can have once we get the prototype and go through there, but I would like to follow through with this and get it done one way or the other so that we have that. For the people attending football games, soccer games, anything else that we have up there. Thank you, Adam.
Yep, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Komar.
Sorry. All right, so I do have 2 reports. I'll do the elementary report first and then move into special ed. You guys are definitely well familiar with my special ed reports and the special programs and things that I talked about, but elementary is a little different. So I kind of broke this down. So events in the elementary, August 7th, we did the pre-K meet and greet. Ms. Horman did a great job, presenting the information to the parents and the kids that were there for the pre-K program coming in. From August 7th to August 9th, there was a STEAM camp held at the elementary. They built air cannons, worked with microbits and coding. They constructed roller coasters out of paper and everyday materials. And Dr. Keebler, myself, Ms. Nolf, Mr. Barker, we were able to go down and see those. And the kids were really, really excited to show us the stuff that they were working on. So that was really, really a nice program. August 22nd, we'll do the Friendship Trail for the incoming kindergartners. Looking forward to that. August 23rd is the Back to School Splash for the elementary students. Get us ready for the next school year or the incoming school year. August 26th, we have the elementary meet and greet after our first in-service day. And then some stuff in September that I wanted to preview. I met with the director from the program formerly known as Evergreen, which is now, I guess they want to make sure they're called 21st Century Community Learning Centers. But that's the after-school program. We still have a 3-year grant with them. We set them up in a classroom, piggybacking off some of the others talking about storage space and trying to be more efficient with spaces. We were able to clear out a space in the cafeteria that they were utilizing as a storage area, and we're actually going to kind of move forward with a school store and some PBIS rewards through that to kind of have more of a usable space rather than just a dumping ground. So that was really good. And then we've locked in September 13th for the elementary night at the Leechburg football game. So, they'll do some, special things for the elementary and some recognition. So that's really a cool thing. For this school year, we're going to be instituting professional learning communities, or PLCs, and we're going to meet. We kind of carved out some time for the teachers. That was a major thing that the teachers were talking about. They didn't have a lot of time to collaborate. So from 8 to 8:30 every day, they will have duty-free time where they can collaborate. And I kind of set these up where they have collaboration time as a weekly schedule. So Monday they'll meet with their grade levels. Tuesday will be an ELA day where they'll connect on ELA. Wednesday will alternate between PBIS and MTSS. And that was really a huge driving force for this. I know when we did MTSS meetings last year and the previous year, Dr. Kibler was really good about trying to get coverage for teachers, but there were already kids in the building, so it made it really difficult. This will give us, full card if a teacher wants to come in and talk about an MTSS issue, whether it be attendance behavior or academics, they can come and present that, and we can come together as a team to try to come up with some solutions for those students. Thursdays will be math, and then Fridays will be alternating social studies and science. Through these, we'll look at data, we'll discuss successes, and again, just give that needed time for teachers to collaborate, whether it be on a grade level or based on subject. In the area of science specifically, Dr. Keebler and I met with the elementary teachers, and I again commend the teachers for coming in over the summer. That was August 5th, and I had every representative of every teacher from every grade level that teaches science for this upcoming year, which was awesome. We all kind of collectively decided on Science Weekly, the Explore Science. That aligns with PA standards. It has a hands-on component with it as well. And the teachers really liked this idea because they were very familiar with Studies Weekly that they utilize for social studies. So we'll kind of use this year to see how this program aligns with the new Steel standards. And, we'll be able to have a good discussion and get together. And again, it's important to have these teaming meetings that we can, meet on a Friday for science and say, how is Science Weekly going? Do we want to go in a different direction, or anything like that? So, all right. For special education, I have a couple of 504 meetings scheduled for the end of August. September is always busy for us. We'll be processing. We're in the process already of scheduling meetings already for the upcoming school year for IEPs, 504s. For MTSS, we met on June 14th as a team, and we're partnering with the AIR and IU. They really went through and revamped our program. I just yesterday got an email from them to follow up about our next steps moving forward. So I was happy when I looked at that email for our steps. I was 2 out of the 4 that I really feel like we progressed with, 2 more that we need to look at. But we're definitely moving in a really good direction with MTSS. K-12 gifted has kind of always been a thorn. But again, we met with Aaron again to revamp this program. So I met with them in we do have 2 new gifted coordinators. So we kind of took that out of the hands of administrators, and Dr. Linkus was doing it as well, which was kind of it worked, and she certainly did the best she could with it, but there's some gaps. We put that back in the hands of teachers. So Mr. McKee is the K-12 or K-5 gifted coordinator, and Mr. Southern is the 6-12 gifted coordinator. So they're going to have specific programs that they're going to do with the kids. They're going to have specific time allotted each month to work with our students that are in the gifted program. So we're going to have a true gifted program that the teachers are going to be able to, again, have input on. Through that, we also have a screening process that we're really revamping as well. So 3rd graders will take a gifted screener before parent-teacher conferences. So this will give some information to the teachers and the parent. The parents will receive that report as well. And this will give some information with the teachers. Again, rather than just saying, hey, my kid's really smart, they should be in the gifted program, they're getting all A's, which is fantastic. And, we're happy about that. But this kind of gives us a little bit more clear data. Obviously, parents still have that right to say regardless of the results of the screener, the parents still have the right to say, I'm requesting my child be tested for gifted. But this kind of gives us a little bit more information and gives the teachers a little bit more clear-cut information in those areas. And then we're also going to keep, I again met with Dr. Vargo today. We went over a lot of things. One of the things we talked about was the bullying curriculum. We're going to keep that in place for the one we did for the last year, over the first 6 weeks for the middle school and the high school, and kind of see how that goes. But I said the price was right. We, since it was created and board approved already last year, we don't have to put on an expense for that. And I really did get some positive feedback from the teachers having that being kind of plug and play, and then not having to go and create lessons and find materials and everything else. So, but that's the 2 reports. And any questions on either front?
I do.
Yes.
First of all, with the elementary, have there been any changes in the class sizes? Or is that Dr.
I have those numbers.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
then don't worry
Okay.
about that. And as far as the bullying, I'm hoping that with mainly Dr. Vargo, but in the elementary and high school, consistency in handling the ramifications of the bullying. Because I know last year, and again, maybe high school without saying anything more, things just weren't always handled. I think the parents were extremely upset over certain things.
Sure.
So I'm putting that on Dr. Vargo he's back there smirking, and I trust that it will be handled this year. But I just wanted to make that comment, and then also to welcome you now into the official role as elementary principal. And I have heard nothing but good things from the staff.
Thank you.
So we're excited.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank Mr. Comar. Like I said, he did a great job covering through that transition over the spring and really has hit the ground running as we hit the summer. And going back to Ms. Stewart's statement right there, I think the collaboration that's going on between the elementary, high school is much different right now, and really where it needs to be on that, looking at consistencies through what we're using, how we're doing it, what's happening with that. So I'm really excited where the district's going under their leadership with that. So thank you for what you've done up to this point. Mr. Kobar, welcome to the elementary.
Matt's culinary is not here.
No, she is not here tonight.
Business report?
Mr. Sorpin, business report?
really have a report, but I did want to thank the board for the opportunity to work here. It's been about 6 or 7 weeks, working 2 or 3 days a week to transition to this gentleman here. You're in good hands with Mr. Cessna. I can tell you, I'm very impressed with him. In the time that I'm here, it gave me plenty of time to form an opinion about this place. And you have a really nice district that you should be very proud of, and I'm sure you are. And I'm very impressed as well with your superintendent. Having worked in school districts for 38 years, probably worked with about 20 superintendents, and Dr. Keebler, to me, is very impressive. So you're in good hands with him. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity to work here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you. And like I said, it was huge carrying us over on that part and getting the input through that. So I thank you for that, Dave, through that. And leading that into, we do have Mr. Cessna here tonight, who I'd like to introduce to everybody on the board who was a part of that with it, but to the community. Greg, if you'd like to say anything, you're more than welcome to stand up, but I will repeat to everybody in the community, Mr. Cessna is coming to us from IUP, who is Director of Finance up there right now, but was in public school at Homer Center for 8 years and at the CTC at Indiana prior to that. So that wealth of knowledge coming in. We're excited for you to join the team, and he will be starting with us next week, full-time Wednesday. So welcome, and give you the floor to say hi.
Sure. Thank you. First off, I don't have a speech prepared or anything prepared, but I wanted to come tonight and be introduced, meet the board, see what how the board meetings flow. It's always interesting. Every place that I've been has a different procedure, and it's good to be here. I look forward to meeting the administration, the staff, and after 5 years in higher education, I do have to say I really missed being in public ed, and I look forward to getting back to being a business manager. And, thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank
you. I don't always talk this much. I welcome you as well. Of course, I was on the interview committee, but I know that things are going to go well, and I think you'll learn that it is a good district and you'll like it here. Thank you.
Yes. I value small communities. I myself from a small community. Homer Center was a small community, and I definitely see the value of having that community commitment in the school district, and how the school district plays a positive role in the community itself. So I've been there and kind of experienced that, and I do value that. So thank you.
Thank you. LEA President Report, Mrs. Mondale.
Good evening and happy August. It feels like school just ended. I was in my room on Monday putting everything back together, and I don't feel like I really left, other than things are not where I thought I put them, so I don't know what happened there. But we're all just very excited about the new school year. Lots of good vibes, good changes. We're excited. And I just want to say save the date, because homecoming is Friday, October 11th. So get excited for that. Any questions for me? No. Okay, thanks.
Welcome back. Good, thanks.
Thank you. A motion is needed to approve the meeting minutes for the month of June 2024 and for the July 25th, 2024 and August 7th, 2024 special voting meetings as submitted. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a discussion on the athletic supplementals. Any questions on that?
And these will be approved retroactively as they went through. These were a couple that were added after resignation at the beginning of the summer with that. But I didn't need to vote. All the employees were there. All the clearances are in with that, so we can vote on it on the 28th.
Any discussion on the 24-25 family counseling Center CAP Services Agreement. Any discussion on the 24 through 27 OZ Enterprises Energy Management System Preventative Maintenance Service Agreement? Item 9, oh, sorry.
We have, so just to update everybody, the OZ is our HVAC system that was put in back in 2017. And you can ask Adam about the functionality of it. We got half the system in, not the other half in. And when we met with OZ, we never put a program to come and service it, to talk about it. So they were running the system as if it was all running. And I learned, I'm not sure it's the most economic system because we run the HVAC to cool, but we also run the boilers to heat. That's why the rooms have separate temperatures that you can adjust. We weren't running the boilers with it. So when the teachers would say it's literally 55 degrees in here, it was 55 degrees because there was no way to calculate that down. So we did not meet with OZ, and the recommendation that they've always put in was they would come in and service the unit. They run the updates with it, make sure everything's functioning as a preventative maintenance so that it doesn't break down with that. We didn't have that. So my recommendation is that we approve this. It would be 6 visits a month, or 6 visits a year, every other month. And they would be able to come in, look at the system. How's the functionality of it? Are they working? I can tell you, everybody was up at exec session. It wasn't 80 degrees up there. But like when we come in and it's 84 sometimes in there, this should balance it down just by changing it. But they'll be able to meet with us and talk about, hey, do we need to adjust anything else? But this should have been in place 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago with that. But I'm recommending that we do it now moving forward so that it can be done. If we get the grant in September, we'll complete that system. If not, we'll still be having the conversation about updating and finishing it to get rid of the other airflow.
I have a question.
Sure.
So then, right now, it's going to be as it was last year. There's still going to be those.
No, we did adjust it, so it should be better. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but we made the change to the program. It's not running like the whole system's there. So they met and talked with it. Adam's talked with them multiple times on that. It should be much better. But now when they come in every 2 months, if these certain rooms are still too cold, we can tell them that they can fix the program and we have much better control of it with it. Right now, it's just been us, and we were calling trying to figure out how to adjust anything. We didn't have control or any training on that part of it. And it was recommended by Jerry, who services our stuff here. He said, absolutely, this should have been in place the whole time with that. So like I said, I think it's a good thing moving forward. It's now, 7, 8 years old, the system with that. So we need to make sure we're preventing any other updates that we would need.
So we won't get this agreement until you know whether we have the grant or not?
No, this agreement's, it's just a smaller sum.
Okay.
It's, I want to say, and I didn't print that one out. Is it 6,000? I want to say it's right around $6,000 a year for them to come in for the service for 6 months
So
for the year round.
we couldn't make this an action item and have it start right away?
We could, but it's not, yeah.
I've been controlling it manually right now, so I know how to do it. It's just whenever we want to move forward with this, that's all.
All right.
We just want them to be able to come in, they'll check all the different components, they'll do a full day review of our system, check stuff in the handlers and that to make sure there's nothing breaking or needs adjusted on that part. Whereas right now, we don't have any training to even know what's up there. They'll be able to come in and check the whole system.
And also, we get 24/7 support. So
That's good.
anytime I need an answer, or need an answer, we have a tech. There'll be a designated tech just for us.
All right, thank you.
Motion is needed to approve the estimate with Old Ironsides Electrical for hand dryer installation as submitted.
One motion on this?
Yes,
So what this is.
it's an action item.
If you remember, 2 or 3 maintenance directors ago, they purchased those hand dryers that were the wrong ones. So Mets went out and they replaced them for free for us. We have them there. We just need them wired in. So we have Old Ironside gave us the quote to install each of those. And the next item that's on here, and I'll just update it on that part too, is the exit signs from when we did the renovations 2 years ago. They still have not all been installed. We have them sitting down there, and Adams are 25 roughly left, 30. So we would like to do both of those to get that work completed as soon as possible, that he can get us on the schedule.
Would that possibly be done before the start of the?
It is possible.
I mean, I would just like.
That's why we put them in to be voted on tonight, so we can get them on the schedule.
I just didn't realize it was a voting item.
Yeah, you know what, there's two different ways you can print this out on board docs, but whenever I reviewed it on the computer, you can see the expanded version like this. This is what they give me so that I know what to say.
Okay.
But it is, and I can just tell you that the next, 10 or so items here, there's kind of a mix of action and discussion, so I'd be happy to just let you know beforehand.
Whenever you
Yeah.
say we need a motion.
Yeah, but it is.
And I
it is
think
an
I can
action item.
update the public on why we have that, and just so everybody knows, we didn't have a meeting in July, but normally, and I take responsibility in June, and didn't work with maintenance to make sure these things normally would have been approved in June. They'd have been paid in July, starting the summer for that part. We were on mixed where we were at, what we were doing with that. So this year it is like in the future, any of these items would be voted on in June. We would then put the contract into place in July, have the work done before the start of the school year. So we've been working backwards somewhat on a few of these. So I apologize, but wanted to make an explanation of why some of them are on there. These are the ones that we feel we can get done before the start of the school year, or that are time stamped that would help with us. The other ones can wait till the end of the month.
Looks like the next three are votes too. So do we have a motion for that?
Motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh, sorry.
I'm abstaining.
Okay.
Family.
Okay. All right. So, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? A motion is needed to approve the estimate with Old Ironsides Electrical for exit sign replacement as submitted.
Motion.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain.
A motion is needed to approve the invoice with Venango Awning for entrance awning replacement as submitted.
And I can give an update on this. If you look at the horrible looking awning out front of the high school, this is one we've been working with it. They got delayed a little bit with it, but what the change will be, and it was put through the state police report, that coming down the steps will no longer be covered. It'll just be the top section of it. And that way from the road, you'll be able to see the doors to the school with that. It'll be a nice blue awning coming over, and then we're going to put the,
Seal? Logo?
the logo on there, and we're gonna do, we talked different ways, they weren't sure that Venango Awning could make it look as clear, so we're gonna work with the company in the same, it's actually the same price that did the windows for the elementary, and they're gonna do a cling that will go on the front of it, that'll make the logo much clearer and precise on what we're doing, and then the big picture, we could always change it 3 years from now if we wanted to without interfering with the awning. It could come off of that on there. But that's what this is for. And like I said, these are one of those other items that we had talked about in June without the meeting in July. It got delayed on there, but we want to get this done as soon as possible. And then we will cut the railings will stay going down the steps. We'll cut the end pipe and we'll cap those. So the railings will still be a part of it the whole way down to the bottom. It'll just have the cover over the top step and going into the entrance of the high school.
So do we have a motion?
Motion. Okay, go.
Second? Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the estimate with North American Fencing for elementary school fence repairs as submitted.
Second.
And I can update this. This is down by the old kindergarten areas by music and art. When they redid that fencing, they took the ADA accessibility out on the corner on Second there. So we're going to have them come in and put a gate in there so that it's accessible by, for the ADA standards that it's not right now.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Did you prepare the stones that were there, we worked on caps?
We haven't done that yet. We're waiting, and part of that goes back to this grant money of what we have. There's nothing hanging off on it, but we do have the quotes for those, and we will revisit that as we were just trying to figure out what we have done and what needs to be done with that. And we're just unsure with these roofs right now, how much we could spend if we have to make it work so we get through it, or can we do it right with that? So that will be coming back to the board.
So then, did we vote? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next three items, 9.7, 9.8, and 9.9 are all discussion items for A-Air. Any questions on those or discussion?
And just, we're not going to vote on these, we'll vote on the 28th with that, but the updates to that. So the first one, the boiler repair, is that the one I'm looking into the warranty right now? Is that, yeah, so the boiler that's not even a year old yet, two things have come up wrong with it. It's about a $2,100 bill, roughly around that. But I've put multiple calls in trying to get that before we vote on repairing anything. I want to get to the warranty and figure out that should be covered with that. I've got the runaround from a couple of different people that I was talking to, but we won't need that till the weather changes. We have a little bit of time, but I'll get an answer on that one. The exhaust fan, we will need that done. That's for the boys' restroom on there. And then the last one is the wood shop repair quote. And what's going on up there, they're going to put another switch and a cover to be able to get to the filter. So the filters are kind of expensive on there. And when they designed that, there's no way to shut it off from the ground. So when he's running saws and stuff, the dust goes into it, it ruins the filter, we have to replace it. This will allow us to have a switch down on the floor that Mr. Stitt will be able to shut the blower off, run the machines. Once it settles down, turn it back on. It should extend the life of the filters because it won't be just dust blowing into it while it's running and filtering that on there.
And there are quotes attached for all of those in board docs, and
Yes.
we're not voting on them this evening. The CKH excavating baseball field estimate. Anything on that?
In this discussion, this is just for the water line that they put in the middle of the field up at West Leechburg at the ball field. They will dig it up. It was, if everybody remembers, it was busted off. So they fixed it. They're going to move it over by the concession stand and have it out of the middle of the field here. So that's what this quote's for, is to move that so that that's finally fixed up there.
Why wasn't it done in the first place?
We had talked about it a couple times. I'm not sure why it was out there. It actually went a lot of the season without the water running up there. We had the other line on there. It just, we didn't get to it and they didn't need it on there. So that's what we're finally trying to finalize that piece.
So we didn't like pay them for something and then now have to change?
No. It just, this was the line, and I'm not sure, it was, if you're standing at home plate up on the hill, it like sits right in the middle of the field. Like, I'm not sure why they put the water line right in the middle of the field.
Who put it there? Straw?
And there's probably nobody here that was here when that was done. I don't know if Straw did it, if it was there before, but someone broke it as vandalism over the course of that spring. It was there, it was running, we shut the water off. So they're gonna come back in and refix it and move it over so that there's nobody running through there knocking it off again.
Was that the thing that happened with the quads at one field, or is that something else?
That was different, I think. Yeah, we're not sure how this happened. We didn't have any cameras up at the time. It was on the back, but it just happened this spring.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The 24-25 Family Counseling Center for Student Assistance Program Mental Health Liaison Service Agreement. Any questions on that? The Quest Deck, we have two Quest Deck items, the new PC workstations and the Chromebooks. Oh, I'm sorry, that is an action item.
Yeah, the next two are action items.
Yes. A motion is needed to approve the quote with Quest Deck for 40 new PC workstations as submitted.
Motion?
Second.
Discussion?
And I would add, those were budgeted in the technology budget for this upcoming year. They just weren't ordered yet.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the quote with Quest Deck for 60 Chromebook touchscreen devices as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. So when will these be done? Like the workstations in the Creation Nation, but it'll be when the kids are here then?
Well, we're planning to do that, might not be for the first day class, if it's arrived. So at least by the end of the winter break, they'll all be installed. So we might do it.
So it wouldn't be during the daytime whenever they're in there, during class time? Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to acknowledge receipt of the following financial reports and to ratify and approve the expenditures expressly set forth therein. The treasurer's report, the check detail report, and that's it for this one.
This is an action? Or it is?
This is an action item. Usually we have other
That's why, yeah.
financial reports. And I don't know if it's cropping it or,
That was all that was submitted for this meeting.
okay.
If we need more for the next one, I'll have them added for the 28th.
Usually we have those general fund
Those
expenditures,
ones.
general fund revenue.
Yeah, I'll put them on there for the end of the month.
Okay. We need a motion to approve the financial reports.
Motion?
Any discussion?
Well, with the knowledge that there'll be
Yeah.
more, I mean,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah.
we can't
Yeah.
do
Well,
something,
we're not
so not-
approving stuff that we haven't seen.
Yeah, no, this is the only two that will be on there. We'll put the other
Yeah,
ones on.
that's all. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This is a discussion item, the use of facilities request. We have three, the PTA laser show, the senior awards assembly, two of those actually in May. Any discussion on that? Discussion regarding a safety conference. Looks like Dr. Keebler will be.
Yeah, and I can give my update on this with the two that are on here with that. We don't have any legislative updates that are issues with that, but it will go part of my update with the budget. So everybody knows the budget was passed in July. The updates that we got, there were some things that were good, some things that were bad, some things that were promised we didn't get. But for the basic ed funding, we did get an increase in $73,082. And that was our student weighted money that was put in there. They used 7 different items, which is our average daily attendance, our English proficiency, cyber charter size, poverty, all of those pieces went in. That's what we ended up with it. The Ready to Learn block grant had an increase of $58,283. And this was a tax equity supplement. This was just released this week with that. And that allows us, and I'll put this out to the board on there, that allows us to look at different tax equities to try to supplement it. And it really goes back to what we were talking about before with the possibility of some of these millage increases. It goes back to if there was something that was passed within 5 years of an appraisal that lowered some of the things. So we talked about that today. Each of those items are allowed to use this money for. It just came out with that. I'm going to work with Mr. Cessna as we start looking at that, but that'll give us some options. And the purpose of it is for tax equity supplemental on that part. Special ed, we got a 12.2% increase of $83,000 on that. And then, as we listened to the budget talks and there were all this promise of cyber charter reform, we were going to cut these costs. It didn't get anywhere near what they were talking about for it. We did get an extra $83,000 of reimbursement for cyber charters. We didn't get them cutting any costs down. And talking at the superintendent's meeting today, the only stipulation they're holding is their commercials are no longer allowed to say it's free. That's banned from them, but that's all they got. They still have no accountability for what they're doing on that. What that $83,000 was off of was our 22-23 spending, which was $902,000. For the upcoming year, we have $710,000. So we have cut our cyber charter down, but we're going to continue to fight with that. The superintendent, Rob from Indiana area, is meeting with Senator Pittman again next week, and I am hopeful to get our transcript from the hearing of Commonwealth Charter when I was out there for the hearing when they said that they were charging us without meeting the kid. The kid didn't pass a class, because we're going to continue to fight on this part to try to get those numbers cut down. So that's just a little bit of a legislative update of what came out of the budget with that going through. Just an update on radios. Last November, we ordered a repeater. We waited till June, I think it finally came in. They had a repeater up in the 5th floor of the high school that the antenna was probably 4.5, 5 inches long. It was against a block wall. We have an antenna on the roof of the admin building now. The repeater's up. We were having some issues, so Bearcom came in. We have a contract with Latimus that I'm not paying yet because through that contract, they were supposed to program them and they couldn't do it. So they're reworking some prices for me on what they're doing. I'll bring those finalized pieces to you. But the radio's working. We have a slight delay, and the guy told me today that it was saying it was busy or someone was on. I don't believe that's the case, but as we get people back, they are working. I can say I was up at the baseball field. The radios work from the office here up to the baseball field. They work up the football field on that. So all those pieces definitely gave us much better range for those radios. Still a couple of things we're going to work out with that, but that took like 2 weeks of calling people back and forth to get any answers on that. On this next item, 12.1, to be approved later, it will be retroactive. I did attend the school safety conference yesterday out in Harrisburg. It was part of PSBA, and the School Safety Institute held it with that. Went over a lot of the updates and some of the threat assessments, talking about what our threat assessments do and then what happens at the next level. A lot of this stuff will be used at our first day of in-service that I'll share with our staff on there. We had a couple people coming in from the federal side that did some presentations on using Safe to Stay and talking about what's been useful with it, how they're changing things with it. And once again, I think I said this a couple months ago, one of our big things, we had a Safe to Stay in I want to say it was winter. It might have been January, February, where I got a call at like 10:30 on a Sunday night. It worked through. We got the child help. So if it's used right, it's a very useful tool to help our kids in need. So I want to talk that up. And then last, we had the keynote was the guidance counselor out of Tennessee who was at Sycamore Middle School, who talked the kid out of her office who came to school with a loaded gun and just talked about her story. And it was pretty unique. She had been through 18 years of researching school shootings and stuff like that, and she knew stuff and she knew what was going on with it, but just her words, she had him in her office for about an hour and a half before he turned it up. But it went back to, it was a kid, he was having some mental health issues with that, and he felt that if he didn't do this, something was going to happen to his family. So it's just one more of those trauma-informed pieces that we're going to continue to talk to with our staff and work with our kids on. The other one that's on there, before I go further, is the new Superintendent's Academy. And that's something I enrolled in. It starts in September. It's September, November, and January. That is run through PASA, and they will work us through. They have a 6-day training for new superintendents that they put us through out there with that. So I am going to ask for approval on that as a part of this. I want to pass this around, and I want to thank Adam. Our cafeteria tables, as we bought the new dishwasher this year using cafeteria funds, there were funds left over. Our new cafeteria tables will have logos on them that will go through. So the logo that will go down will have 8 rows of 3 tables. So all the middle rows will have the logo, and then we'll have 2 blue, 2 white, 2 blue, 2 white going down through. So it's really going to look good down there. The other tables will all also be new that match up with that, but I think it's going to put a whole nother demeanor of what the cafeteria looks like, how it's going with that, and that will be paid for through those cafeteria funds as well. So it's not coming out of any of our district budget. It was part of the costs are set by the state of what we charge on that. It was excess there that we can use. There will be a firearm inspection coming up from Doble. It hasn't been inspected, I don't think, in a few years. Something should be done yearly with that. And I also asked Adam to talk with Doble about our PA system. It's going to be something on the forefront coming forward. It's very dated. You have to go into the closet back here of the elementary library to do that, so that'll be coming up. As Adam said, our door handles, and I showed everybody up the office, the whole building will be ready by the first day, but they're all being replaced for that. The stadium railings we talked about, and then there was a PCCD grant that just was released for another school safety. There's some regulations on it. I read through it quickly, but I will be putting an application together. We'll be talking to the board on the 28th about what the plan is after I meet with the principals and talk where it's at. But there were some things that we could buy, cell phone holders to put in the classrooms that kids could put them in. There's some other pieces with that. So I'll meet with the team. We'll look at that. We'll have a plan, but pretty confident we'll be able to write that. And last but not least, our number update at the elementary. Right now we have 35 in kindergarten with 2 teachers, 68 in first grade with 3 teachers, 38 in second grade with 2 teachers, 49 in third grade with 2 teachers, 33 in fourth grade with 2 teachers, and 61 in fifth grade with 3 teachers. I'll continue to monitor them. I still think there's a couple that we think are not going to be here, but we still haven't received the paperwork from their new school stating that they moved yet. So usually right before, and it may go one way or the other. I'm hoping we don't have a huge influx on that. But as I've stated before, Ms. Bonicki, who was our 5th grade teacher last year, will be a building sub as the whole year. If numbers increase that we need a classroom and I make a recommendation, we wouldn't have to go through the hiring process. We could put her in that classroom.
I have just a comment. I think 3rd grade, even if it doesn't change, 49, that's their first year of the PSSAs, right? That's too many kids in a class, I believe. They're not going to, 25 and 24 is the way it is right now in 3rd grade. I don't know that the rooms even are big enough. I just think that's something that, we're going to wait until we're in here, and then we're going to say, well, now we'll switch it to 3. Meanwhile, they're already been, they haven't got their assignments even. To do this after it starts is just unnecessary, in my opinion. I don't know. I just think that we should just look at that grade right now and talk about it further before the start of the year. That's where I stand. That's a large class. 3rd grade is not that any grade is more important than others, but 3rd grade, I believe, is very crucial. And there's just a lot of changes in 3rd grade. I know that from my grandchildren going through the district and going through 3rd grade. I have no one in there now. I just really feel that is not the best move for that grade level.
No, I like I said, it's not ideal by any mean with it. I do believe we have 3 that will not be in that class, and that's where I hesitate at. But as you just said, we may get 7 next week that goes into it. I'm not 100% sure. I've always made that cutoff at a 25 for the last 8 years with that. We're still under that. And just looking at it, it is something I will continue to monitor and keep everybody updated with that. I think that if we need to make a move a few days before, we could do that and then vote on it at we have a board meeting the first day of school. If we're going to make a move, I'll definitely be informing the board of any recommendations. We can have that conversation at that, but I have been keeping an eye on those as we go.
Thank you.
And lastly, I did leave one thing I skipped it on there, but transportation is going out. I will update the community. We're still working with Ronick on that part of it, and this was the whole reason 4 years ago I made the recommendation to TransFinder because Tom's just overwhelmed with getting it. Lenape went out, I worked with him and Amy today. I'm hoping that by the end of the week it will be finalized, and this will be the last time we do it by hand. We do have input in TransFinder. We just don't have the time right now to sit down and actually make sure it's using in case something wouldn't happen because we're pressed to the school year. We are not paying for this year of TransFinder until it's up and running. So I talked with them on there. It'll probably be an October payment once we have the chance to sit down, have it running, and make sure it's full functioning. And the other part of that, we've been paying $6,000 a year. We have Route Finder that does our routes. We also have Stop Finder that parents can log in and see where their kids are. And we have Viewfinder on there. We haven't used Route Finder. We're not going to use the other 2 for the first year till we get it up and running. We could always add them later. So that'll cut $2,500 off of that bill. Should we make sure it's up and running before I would ask you to approve that. But I was a part of those trainings with that, and we're going to continue to work with that. But just so the community knows, the bus routes will start coming out as soon as we finalize them. They've been working on them this week. Any other questions?
Any discussion on bus schedule changes, bus drivers, or?
They're not in there yet. She's finalized. I'll have them
Yeah.
for the end of the month so that they're all finalized.
And obviously, this is information. We have the administrative evaluations for 23-24.
Just a volunteer list.
Yeah, the volunteer list for 24-25, but we're not approving that tonight.
No,
That's
just
discussion.
a discussion
Okay, yeah.
item.
Okay, any public comments? Yeah.
When the cutoff date was and all that.
So PTA was part of that, and we put it through working with Ms. Walters. The issue goes back to they called, and we called them multiple times. They just didn't turn the stuff in. We will continue. I'll put some messages out to the district. It'll be October 1st again. I know they've sent stuff out through PTA. As we start the school year, I'll send them weekly reminder to anybody that wants to do that. Yeah, the issue was they held off the whole time till right before they wanted to do something. So if they wanted to go on their kids' field trip, they were rushing and we didn't have them in. So when we did it, in the big picture, it was very successful. It was just wasn't pleasant for the parents who didn't get them in. And we tried to work with them, and we would always do that if there's some issue with it.
And I don't believe there's any non-agenda item public comments this evening. So we'll just announce the time of the next meeting, which will be August 28th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the Leechburg High School Library. And we need a motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 8:12 p.m.
You good, Andrew?
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.
No problem. Have a good evening.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.